the question was posed to me about divorce. So, you know, should we get divorced? Is divorce okay? Does God hate divorce? Well, let's talk about it. Let's go. Let's talk about this, because as you know, we have a 60% divorce ratio in this country. So let's talk about what God feels and what He thinks about divorce. We've always been taught that God hates divorce, and that is true, and it's based on Scripture. But God didn't say you couldn't get a divorce. So let's not have a guilt trip if we have to have a divorce, if we have to get a divorce. Because so many times when people divorce, they have a guilt trip that God is going to punish them. And there is a punishment, but let's talk about when you're held to a punishment. You know, when you're charged or when you're going to be punished, because not everybody that gets divorced is punished. So let's go to Scripture. Of course, we do everything by Scripture. We are in the military, and our commander-in-chief is God. And we do everything He says. We do not question God. So let's go to Scripture. And this is going to be taken from the American Standard, of course. Now, the King James, I always tell you, is the closest to we can get to the original Scripture, original writings. But I always say, for new babes in Christ, just beginning, the New American Standard, which is our daily language, is better for you. Until you get more advanced, you can go back to the King James. Now, what I do, I study from both. So let's go to Scripture, and that this is going to be taken from the American Standard. And let's talk about Matthew. It's going to be Matthew chapter 5, verse 41. Now, this is concerning divorce. And what's the exception to get a divorce? Okay, so it says, it was said, whoever sends his wife away, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say that everyone who divorces his wife, except for the reason of unfaithfulness, makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Okay, Scripture is strictly saying now that God only allows divorce, or will accept divorce, if one of the parties is unfaithful. If one of the parties cheats, as you would say. So then the innocent party is not held accountable for that. But the party that committed the offense will be punished. That's just the truth. But if you did not commit the offense, if you're the unguilty party, and you'll say your husband did it, then you are free to divorce and to marry another, and there will be no penalties on you. Now, let's talk about this. Let's go a little further, because I want to talk about divorce. That's why it's very important that before you get married, you understand what marriage is all about, that you seek marriage counseling. As old myth that you need to go to marriage counseling when you're about to get married. But no, remember now, we're not raised as children in most cases to know about marriage. So we don't know the responsibilities of marriage. We don't know what we're getting into. That's why I say, when it's always good to do marriage counseling for young adults. I start them off at 8, 9, 13, 14-year-old marriage counseling, teaching them the responsibilities of a wife, teaching the responsibilities of a husband. If we rear our children up and they won't get away from it, it'll be traditionally installed in them, like all to the body. That's what we always say. So remember that. The earlier we can get a young person into marriage counseling, premarital counseling, the best thing for them. That way, when they consider marriage, they'll know exactly what type of responsibility they're accepting. But let's go to Scripture. And this is going to be Matthew 19, chapter 19, verses 3 through 9. So let's go over there. Bear with me here. Here we go. 3. Some Pharisees came to Jesus, testing him and asking, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any reason at all? And he answered and said, have you not read that he who created them both from the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So that they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. Wow. Scripture is strictly saying that if God put it together, then no man can separate. So remember, if you're seeking divorce, you might have to think that God put you together.